IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we share the journey of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners. Hi guys, I'm Faiza and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories. Before we get started with today's episode, Saif and I have a humble request to all our listeners. We have seen and heard about the havoc and destruction to both life and property that the rains have caused in Kerala and the Kodagu region over the past few days. As responsible citizens, it's our duty to come together and help our fellow countrymen in this hour of need. We have shared the links in our show notes section where you can go ahead and contribute in any way you can. Together, we surely can see this through. As for today's episode, our guest Shubhangi Jeswal takes us on an experience of a lifetime where she learns the invaluable skill of mountaineering. Let's hop on to today's episode and find out more. With that introduction, I would love to welcome Shubhangi Jeswal. Hi Shubhangi, welcome to the Musafir Stories.
Hi, Faiza.
How are you?
I'm absolutely fine. And it's a pleasure talking to you.
Same here. We'd love to know your stories. Seen a lot of your beautiful pictures and waiting to know what you've done. So, yeah. Shubhangi, why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little about yourself?
Sure. So basically, I come from a travel background and travel genes because I've already lived in almost 15 cities of India and traveled to about 22 countries in the world.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. But my passion for adventure started in the year 2010 when, I did my graduation and then I was taken on an adventure trip from my college. And that is when I realized I really want to see myself in the adventure travel industry. So that's when I did my MBA in tourism and then I started working with an adventure travel firm based in Ladakh.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yes. So initially I was not working in the field. I was recruited as a marketing executive. But then later my interest in treks, started building up. And then it actually, went up till mountaineering. So yeah, a lot of it. So that is how Himalayan Mountaineering Institute came into picture.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. And Shubhangi, where are you going to take us and all our listeners today?
So yeah, today I will be taking you on a very exciting journey, which is to the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. So it is altogether, so this is something like completely different from trekking and all that pleasurable experience that you have in the mountain.
Okay.
It's not very easy, something that you've got to prepare yourself before you go for it. But it's quite an experience. And once you do it, I think you have the feeling of accomplishment.
So how did you apply? I've heard getting into the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute is quite difficult.
Yes, it actually is. So, because the seats are very limited.
Okay.
And in India, the two mountaineering institutes, that's like the first one is Nehru Mountaineering Institute, the second is Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. Okay. So these two are like packed and people come from all over the world because in India, mountaineering is subsidized, like the training.
Okay.
So you're not spending as much money as you are supposed to. So you're just spending like 7,000 or 8,000 for the entire month. In which you're getting everything. So you get to stay, you get to eat, you get to train all the equipments, your instructors, everything. Because that getting into the institute, you'll have to apply and really, like an year in advance.
Oh my God.
And yes, with a medical certificate. So not that, anybody like with high BP or so that is an issue. So you've got to be medically ready for this. And they'll check your entire medical history. So you've got to, fill up that entire form. And then again, once you're there at the institute, you'll have another medical test. Okay. They'll check your fitness and everything. Only then they take you in the mountains.
Oh my
Otherwise,
God.
they send you back.
And what all did you guys have to do to prove the fitness?
So, in the morning, we used to have a PT, that's physical training. Okay. And it's a proper physical training. So, every day in the morning, they were observing us, like how good we are with running. Yes, how good we are with all the other exercises, then yoga, breathing.
Okay.
So all of that, initial 10 days we were given to improve ourselves.
Okay.
And when the time came to actually head to the main mountains, that is like a day before we had an entire medical checkup.
Oh, okay.
And if there were any issues, like any medical problem, we were not allowed to go further.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So going back a few months, so you have applied.
Yes.
It's almost you said almost a year.
Almost a year in advance.
Oh wow! Almost a year in advance is what you need to apply.
Yes.
And how many days duration is this? The entire course for?
Yes, so the entire course is for 28 days.
Okay.
In which you're learning basically rock craft, snow craft, and ice craft.
Oh wow! Okay.
So for the rock craft training, you are at the base of the mountains. Like you're not in the actual mountains. So our base camp was in Darjeeling for this.
Okay.
The institute is based in Darjeeling, and we were training in Darjeeling, and we had a few rocks assigned to us. So Tenzing Rock was the one which was used for our training.
Okay.
So rock climbing. Then after 10 days, we had started trekking to the base camp, which was at 16,000 feet. So that is where, like, while we were trekking, our training for snowcraft was already going on because we were walking on the snow.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And then the ice craft.
And then the glacier.
Oh.
Yes. So, which was at the Rathon Glacier.
Okay. We are going to hear a lot about it. But going step by step, which month of the year where did you travel?
It was in April, 2017.
Right. So you've applied almost 2016 and a year to, I think, prepare and make yourself a little fit as well. Okay.
I applied in June 2016 for April 2017.
Okay. And we can just go ahead and apply online and send all the documents across online as well?
No, you've got to actually courier all the documents to them. So with the medical certificate and application form.
Okay. And you get the application form off their website?
Online. Yes. That is all available on.
Yes. And as you said earlier, this all works out to around 7,000. I mean, the entire course, 6 to 7,000.
Yes. So it was 7,500 something.
Oh, great. And any prerequisites with respect to a person who can apply? Health certificate, I mean, the medical certificate is one thing. Is there any age barrier or nationality restrictions?
Age, you've got to be above 80.
Okay.
That's one thing.
Right.
Yes. And nationality is not a problem. Of course, for foreigners, the fees is not what we pay, like what Indians pay. It's a bit high, but as compared to their country, it's like normal.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. And with respect to your fitness level, like before you go to the camp, what do you recommend a person's fitness levels should be?
A person should be able to run, like at least 3 kilometers per day with a decent speed. All right, then breathing is a major problem because when you're at 16,000 feet, the air is thin and there are no trees around.
Right.
So you've got to be like, your lungs have to be used to that kind of air. You need to be very well versed with yoga and breathing so that it actually helps you with all of that. And then of course you should be strong enough to lift that weight, like 20 kgs of weight on you, and then walk in the mountains.
And with respect to anything that you carried, anything, what was your bag? Yeah.
So when I left from my home, I had like my essentials, like all my clothing, trekking gear, in the sense that my trekking trouser, my t-shirts, my jackets, everything, and my personal use thing. But all the equipment necessary for mountaineering is given from the institute.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yes. So you need not have and even the backpack is given. So you can carry a suitcase along. You can leave it at the hostel of the institute. And whatever is required for mountaineering, they will be giving you that.
Okay, great.
So,
awesome. Yes. So you've reached Darjeeling. You're on the way to the camp. Please explain and describe rather how the camp is.
So HMI is different from NIM because HMI has a zoo in it. So
are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So there's an entire zoo, and in the same campus you have the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute, and it was inaugurated by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So it was one of the first to be inaugurated by Tenzing Norgay Sherpa and Jawaharlal Nehru. So the best part about HMI was its girls' hostel. It is newly made and it is very clean and nicely built.
Great.
The toilets and everything. Plus the weather. So, when I arrived in Darjeeling, the weather that day was so amazing that I was completely taken off by the weather. And in fact, the students there were like, so all were of the same age group, and we shared a lot of stories. And I was traveling from Sikkim. So I had done a solo trip in Sikkim as well.
Wow, okay.
Before I reached HMI. So, 7 days I was traveling in Sikkim, like North Sikkim, East Sikkim.
Oh.
And so when I met my friends, I was like just sharing my stories about.
Because I've heard so much about Sikkim. Even like so many our guests have told us so many beautiful stories about Sikkim. Yeah. So, and how many girls are there? Were there along with you, Shubhangi?
So in the course, we were almost 21 females.
Wow, that's
and
great. Okay.
there were about 63 males.
Okay.
So usually, in the basic course, there are from 70 to 85.
Okay.
And it can exceed only till 90. That's the maximum number of students you can have.
All right.
Yeah, but if you're going for advanced mountaineering course, the number reduces to 40.
Okay. Yeah, so tell us, how was your first day at the institute?
The first day was actually quite interesting because, when we were called, so they call it a fallen. Like, fallen is supposed to be in the army camps and where everyone has to come and join the assembly kind of thing.
Okay, fallen. That's nice.
Yes. So we were asked to fallen, and then we had the entire briefing done. That what will be our schedule for the 28 days, what rules and regulations we need to follow, the discipline, because it's run by army. So the entire discipline, we have to be very well disciplined in the academy. We cannot just go out after 8. Dinner was served at 7 and our sleep time was at 8. In the morning, our wake-up call used to be at 4:30 a.m.
Oh, that's early.
Yes. And at 5, we had to leave for our physical training. That was PT. So the entire briefing was very interesting, and we actually thought that, it's going to be a bit difficult for us because the kind of briefing that we were given from our instructors was, in a way that, okay, you cannot break these rules. And
did they take all 85 of you all? Were you all divided into groups? How did it go?
So we were all divided into ropes. Like, they call it ropes.
Oh, okay.
And we were all divided into 10 ropes.
Okay. So almost 8 people per rope.
Yes.
It's quite an interesting name. It's called a rope.
Yes, because ropes are one thing that,
so essential.
I told you, right? Yes.
Right, yeah.
So that's why we were divided into ropes, and I was a part of a 5th row, and we were 8 people in our row. And actually people from all over the world because there was a female from Norway.
Oh, wow.
And she was better than Indian males.
Oh, wow.
She was very inspiring, and there were a few other people from US. So it was an inspiring lot for me.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
And it's a mixed group, like so many people from different parts of the world. It's amazing.
Yes. But there were a lot of stories that people were sharing from their own experience. So getting to know them, and because I am from North Delhi, but there were people from South India, and West Bengal, and in fact people were from Rajasthan, Gujarat as well.
That's great.
So knowing their stories, and a lot of them were travelers, photographers, from different professions.
Right. So that's one
thing you really enjoy at mountaineering, even though you are struggling with everything. But the people you are around, that actually keeps you going.
Perfect, absolutely. That's great.
Yeah.
So how was your entire itinerary broken up into 28 days? What all did you guys do?
So our schedule was for the first 10 days, as I told you, we had the rock craft training, which was only at the institute. Yes, so we were in Darjeeling for the 10 days.
Okay.
And then for the next 17 days, so how the breakup was, the first 5 days we were trekking, so we reached the base camp.
Okay. So it took almost 5 days to reach the base camp.
Yes. And then the next 10 days, we were actually training at the glacier.
Okay.
So from the base camp, we used to go to the glacier.
Okay.
Every day, so which was again a trek of 2.5 hours. So how we do it was 2.5 hours. We used to go, trek, and then train there, and then come back. So it was really, really difficult because what used to happen. So we had to leave at 6 a.m. in the morning, and that time the temperature used to be really low. So we had to. So we had to get ready. brush. And at -10 degrees, you cannot use that cold water.
Exactly.
So we had to use that same cold water.
Oh God.
So that was something which was actually very difficult. And waking up in the morning, then before leaving, we had to have breakfast also, which was so difficult because having breakfast at 6 a.m. in the morning used to be difficult for all of us.
Exactly.
And then leave. So trek for 2.5 hours. Train there. Climbing the glacier was actually very difficult because your ice is actually melting. And as the temperature rises, the ice used to start melting, and we were climbing. So all our hands used to get numb.
Oh my God.
And you could not feel your hands, but still you had to keep climbing with that ice axe. So you really needed, energy and, arm strength to keep going. And even using your crampons and, in the feet. So you had so you need to be very coordinated with your mind and body and everything.
Right. So Shubhangi, what all equipments did you guys use? You all had rope, and what else was there?
The rope is an essential, which our instructors used to, tie the rope.
Okay.
And we used to have a fixed rope on the mountain, which was used by all of us. Yeah. And again, as I said, that we were divided into groups, which were ropes. So we used to train rope-wise. So equipment-wise, we used to, each one of us was given a harness. There used to be a rope, harness, descender, and jumar.
Jumar, okay.
Jumaring is, so basically Jumaring is the one which is the climbing technique.
Oh, okay.
An important climbing technique, yes. Descender is used to come down.
Okay.
Harness is your basic harness. And the rope. So these were the 4 things that used to be there with the harness. Then a helmet was very important. And to climb the ice, used for climbing, we used to have our ice axe.
Okay.
Ice axes, so basically ice axe is again a very important tool for climbing, and it has a lot of parts that can be explained and used. So I cannot do that without visuals.
Right.
But yes, and again, then there is crampons. So crampons were worn on snow boots. So we were given snow boots, which weighed a lot. Yes. And on the snow boots, you had crampons on. So crampons had spikes in them.
Oh, okay.
So with the spike, it was actually quite easy to climb and we used to hit the spikes in the ice and then put the ice axe from the arms. And then with the coordination of arms and legs,
you climb up, right?
Yes, you climb up. Right. So that is how it goes. And there are a lot of different, moves that you can try with and, different angles.
Right. And I think you need a lot of arm and core strength for this. And I think your thighs also need to be really strong.
Yes, because while you are with the support of the crampon while you're climbing, so sometimes your ice axe cannot just get into the ice. So you actually have to hit a number of times, and until the ice axe gets into the ice, you have to keep standing with support of the crampons which are inserted in the ice. So you are somewhat in a squat position for a longest time. So, which is so difficult, and your thighs start aching. So, you got to train yourself, as you said, the core strength. So, you got to do, sit-ups every day and push-ups for your arm strength. So, a lot of exercises need to be done for mountaineering.
So, all this was done in the first 10 days. I mean, you guys...
First 10 days, yes. We were prepared for this. But, first 10 days also, a lot of students who did not take it seriously, they struggled a lot while, the glacier training.
Oh, God. Yeah. And you even mentioned earlier that you were graded the initial 10 days. So, how was this grading? How did this grading help?
So, not just the initial 10 days, to get... So, the thing is that in mountaineering, you get grades. If you are very good, you've done everything very well, that is when you get a D grade. That is distinction kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
That's outstanding, basically.
Okay.
And for normal people who have done everything, tried everything, and were decently good at it, so they get an A grade.
A grade, okay.
Yes. People who are okay and not average, they get a B grade, and people who have not attempted at all, who were really bad, they used to get the C grade.
Oh, okay.
So you need to have a minimum of A grade if you want to do the advanced course.
Right.
So if you don't get the A grade, you've got to do basic mountaineering course again. And only then, once you get that A grade, you can further go for it.
Okay.
So getting an A grade was very important for me. Why? Because, so I had applied for the advanced mountaineering course in advance. So, before going for my residency, I had applied.
Okay, that's but you had to. Yes,
my seat was provisionally reserved. So only if I had an A grade, I would have got.
So please tell us, you have finished your 10 days training and a lot of core exercises, arm exercises. You have a strict schedule with respect to the rules that you follow. How about the food? How was the food at the institute?
Yes, food. So, when you are in an institute like HMI or NIM, or, be it any other mountaineering institute. So, the food is somewhat like what, army, you get in the army, army camps. It was like in the morning breakfast, we used to have something like a bread jam, and for vegetarians, we used to have, for protein, we used to have black chana and everything.
Oh, okay, good.
One day we used to have black chana, the other day we used to have soya bean, then the third day we used to have potatoes. And for the non-vegetarians, we used to have in the morning we used to have egg for them, omelette or an egg bhaji. Yes. Okay. So then we used to have a tea break. So with the tea we used to have parle-jis. But for 28 days, and for people like us who come from cities, we are used to that junk food as well.
Exactly.
So for the 28 days, if you have to eat that chapati, rice, dal and, sabzi, it got very difficult. So after 15, 16 days, it was very difficult for me to take in that food.
Right.
So I used to take my own chocolates, whatever sweets I used to have. That was one thing that kept me going. I really needed it. Because, I am not used to eating only that dal sabzi and without ghee wala chapati.
Exactly. And I think after one point you would start craving for the burgers, pizzas, pasta. Oh my god, when can I bite into a burger? And
if not a burger, pizza, at least a rajma chawal or curry chawal, something like that you really need. So it was very difficult, but it used to be nutritious food,
right.
Chapati. Chapati you can take as many you want. Rice you can take as much you want. Dal, sabzi, all of that in the lunch. Then again we used to have a tea break in the evening. And then we used to have dinner similar to lunch.
Okay.
And then you can, and then, we used to give, you used to get hot water.
Oh, thank God.
And then go off to sleep. And then morning, again, we used to have a wake-up call, followed by the wake-up tea.
Okay, awesome. So, and one more question, Shubhangi. You've reached the base camp after a 5-day trek, you said?
Yes.
And 2.5 hours up, you have the training at the glacier. How is the trip back? I mean, normally we end up talking about people, their journey to, how they went to a place. But I think getting back is such a journey because you're tired and you're all broken down. There's no motivation at all. How was it every day returning back to the base camp?
So I'll tell you. So, coming, from the glacier, coming back to the base camp used to be you've done it, another day has gone and, things like that. And then we used to wait for lunch because our lunch used to be, once we came back to the base camp. And by the time we came back to the base camp, it used to be 3 and 4. So, and there at the glacier, we were served tea with Parle-G biscuits. Okay. So, that was one motivation that, once you reach back, you're going to get lunch.
Food, right. But you guys start off somewhere around 6 o'clock, you said? After breakfast?
6 o'clock. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay, that's early.
That's early. And then there used to be a lot of gap between our training. And then after having, breakfast and lunch used to be some 8 hours.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And then, while coming back, so, we had 5 days of trekking, then 10 days of training at the glacier, and in 2 days we took to come back. So, the amount of trek that we did in 5 days to go uphill, we were just given 2 days to come downhill.
Oh my God, wow.
So, the first day we trekked for almost 25 kilometers downhill. And But that was one motivation, that you are done with it. So you're just going back.
Correct.
So that was a very happy feeling that, you have completed it and you've accomplished, the glacier training and everything properly.
Right.
And yeah, so that was one motivation for all of us that wow, we are reaching and we'll be in the network zone. Because for 17 days, Faiza, I tell you, we did not have networks.
Oh my God.
It was so difficult, like for people like us, we try to get be connected with our family. And
Correct.
we could not. And you have no idea how your parents are there. Your parents have no idea how you are.
Correct.
You are completely, on your own. And then for 17 days, you're not having a bath.
Oh,
You're not
really
changing clothes. Yes. So for 17 days, no bath. Even for the washrooms, you don't have water. So you're using wet tissues or, toilet paper.
Oh my God.
All
Okay.
right. So no water. Third thing, you don't have clothes to change. So for 17 days, you just have one pair of clothes. Because you cannot carry, your backpack is already so heavy.
Right.
So you cannot carry clothes with you. So you just have a trouser and a t-shirt that you're wearing with you. And then a trouser and a t-shirt spare. After 10 days, you can change because that is needed. So a lot of them did not even carry an extra one. They were like, we'll just spend the entire 17 days in the same clothes.
Oh my God. Okay, this is a completely different. Yeah.
So that's what, and that was one thing which was very difficult, that you cannot take care of the hygiene there.
Right.
And then sleeping in sleeping bags again, and with all of them together. At HMI, we had the huts. So we had a hut stable, like a stable of horses where horses stay. So we used to have a wooden plank where all of us lie down, 20 of us in a line in the sleeping.
Oh my God.
So hygiene was major issue. Of course, it is in the mountains.
Right.
Because you don't have water to use.
That's true. That's true.
And then again, you cannot have bath. You're not changing your clothes. You're not able to wash your face sometimes.
Yeah.
It's so cold. So that, and then without networks for 17 days.
Oh my God. That's
yes,
difficult.
So that was the most difficult part for all of us. But because we were 85 of us, so network thing was fine. After a while, we did not realize. But the 17th day, when I spoke to my parents, all of us had tears in our eyes.
Oh my God.
We could not control ourselves. That was one experience for us.
Oh my God.
So, this is something that I'll really recommend for people, especially youngsters, because in India, I think this culture really needs to be imbibed. They become independent and they learn.
Right. And some discipline also, I think, with respect to taking care of your own self and timings and everything. Yes, sir.
Yes, punctuality. So, you learn so much in the mountains that even 5 minutes can, make a difference in the mountains.
Right.
So, if we have to leave at 6 and we are leaving at 6:10, by that time, the weather can just, be bad. You might not just leave, because once you've left, you have to complete it and come.
Right.
But if you're not left, you can be really lazy to leave. There were chances that a lot of them skipped the glacier training, due to which they did not receive the B grade.
Oh my God.
They did not receive the A grade, sorry. So, and of course, they'll have to go through the entire thing again. Yes, but I tried not doing that, and I tried to do everything possible so that I get an A grade. So finally, I got an A grade.
Awesome! Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you got to go to the advanced training as well.
Yes, so I am actually leaving in 20 days for the advanced training.
Congratulations.
Yes.
That's great. And how many days
excited for that
is this?
Again, it's 28 days.
28 days. Okay. Good luck. Yes. And I hope we get to read and see about it really soon.
Sure. Yes. I'll share my story as soon as I come back, hopefully. Yes.
That's great. Yeah. So, it's amazing. 10 days at the institute and then the remaining 17 days at the mountains.
Yes.
It's an amazing.
And the final day, you have the graduation ceremony.
Oh, wow. What happens then?
So, once you've completed your glacier training, you're back in the institute. So, the last day, so at HMI, we had the first, the second last day, we had a marathon, a marathon competition.
Okay.
So, for 5 kilometers, all of us were made to run, and then whoever came first, second, third, we were all given medals.
Oh.
Yes, and on the same day we had the climbing competition as well.
Okay.
So like, at HMI we have an artificial climbing wall where we had the climbing practice earlier. So that is when the day, you have a competition. So all of us were made to climb. And whoever climbed, like, whoever could go the farthest on the wall were given medals, like, golden, bronze and silver.
Amazing.
And then in the evening, we had our graduation ceremony practice.
Okay.
So, even for the graduation ceremony, all of us were told that, where we'll be standing and how we'll be called to, ask, like, come and collect our medal or,
Yeah.
So at HMI, we were given a small ice axe as a badge.
Oh, that's a nice thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a memento. You can just keep it for life. Yeah.
Keep it for life. So at HMI, we were given that. And then in the morning, on the last day, we had a graduation ceremony followed by the snacks. And then we had to leave. Like, we had to, vacate our hostel room.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, which was so sad because, in 28 days, you're staying together and you've made friends.
Correct. And I think you're just so used to the beauty around as well, the mountains, and there is something new and exciting to look forward to every day. It'll be different. Yeah,
but there was always an excitement that you're coming back home.
Right, absolutely.
Like, so your feelings are like mixed, it's like you're sad and you're happy. Correct. So that's one thing that is so funny about it. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Shubhangi, the entire experience seems really beautiful and so much to learn as well. But if you had to just close your eyes and think of one strongest memory that you have, what was that?
So one of the strongest memories that I have to think of is, so I was at the glacier, okay, and I think it was the last day of our glacier training.
Okay.
And I don't know what was going on in my mind. Like, I was like, okay, this is it. This is the last glacier training. I'm not going through, it again. And a lot of things were going on in my mind. And then I was actually climbing the wall. And while I was climbing the wall, and that day the temperature went really high. Okay. So the ice started melting.
Oh Lord.
And my gloves were by then all my gloves were worn off. And that day I got really, I don't know what happened in my mind, and I thought I am losing my hands today. I started crying badly and I started shouting that I'm not able to feel my hands. And I actually started abusing myself that, who asked you to come here? You're losing your hands. You'll not be able to. And all my batchmates came, they offered me their gloves, they started shaking my hands. Nothing was working for 15 minutes. Then, someone asked me to just, do something with my hands, like a kind of movement. And I did that, and immediately within 30 seconds, I could feel my hands. And once we came back, everyone made a lot of fun of me, like, how can you cry like this? But that is one moment, whenever I think of HMI, that is one moment that comes to my mind.
But I really want to know what the move is, because that'll keep me up. I'll keep Googling. What was the move?
So, it's like you just have to keep your hand straight and your palm needs to be so it's like you have a 90-degree angle with your hand and then you're just moving it up, and you're pushing your hands up and down,
oh wow, okay,
kind of
that's
yeah,
so
you're
just
so if you're doing it for 20-30 seconds, your numbness from your hands will just go. So that is what I learned, if ever this happened, because we were taught about all these frost bites in the mountains and all the diseases that you can have in the mountains at that altitude.
Right.
So all that was in my head that I'm at that altitude, I might get this, I might get a frostbite. So this was not going from my head. So all that, and then as soon as I started feeling that my hands are going numb, and this image came into my mind that I'm losing my hands today and everything. It was very scary for me. But then I was told that at this altitude where we are training, 18,000 feet, nothing will happen.
Oh, okay.
So this really happens after 22 or 23,000 feet.
Oh, all right.
It's relieving for me. Yeah.
And any advice that you would like to give to budding mountaineers?
Yeah. So one piece of advice is that, whatever you feel in the mountains that, oh my God, this is very difficult and everything. I think at the end of the day, that feeling of accomplishment is what you need in life. Right. So, I would say that even if you're feeling that this is very difficult and we cannot do it, like, giving up is not an option.
True.
So I would just like, the piece of advice that I will give is that, just keep this thing in mind that you have to complete it. Like, you cannot let things go only because you're not able to do it, because it's all in the head.
Nice.
And once in the head, like, in fact, if you're not physically strong, but if you're mentally strong, like, you can reach, like, wherever you want to. So I think mentally just make yourself strong. I think you'll get physically strong as well.
Perfect. That's like an absolutely good advice. Thank you, Shubhangi, and thank you so much for taking us and explaining everything about this amazing institute.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
I hope after this one we have a lot of mountaineers.
I really hope. Yes. And can you please tell our listeners about how they can follow your work?
Yeah, sure. So, I have been writing for Tripoto.
Okay.
So, they can find me on Tripoto in the name of Shubhangi Jeswal.
Okay, perfect.
That is where they can follow me. First thing. Secondly, they can follow me on Instagram as well. Shubhangi Jeswal. So, I am available on Instagram and then my Facebook page.
Okay.
So, again, the name of Shubhangi Jeswal. Yes.
Yes.
So,
yeah, so we'll add all these to our show notes. And all the best for your Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. We are looking forward to hearing and reading about your story there. And
thank you so much.
Thank you, Shubhangi. Thank you for being a wonderful guest. Thanks a lot.
That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Audioboom, Savan, Pocket Casts, Castbox, Stitcher, or any other podcasting app available on iOS or Android. Please do leave us a review on iTunes. It goes a long way in the show's discoverability. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com or visit our website at www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of each episode. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.